much. Aaron, you're going to record this session, right?
I just hit the start record button. You're all set.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much for attending this session. I'm very excited to do this. This is just, I like to say, fresh out of the oven. This new session I built for this year. It's not going to be very complex. It's very, very simple, just to get you started. The session is good, especially good for those who haven't yet experienced building virtual machines in the Azure cloud environment. And I'm going to go through very simple, it's quick, couple of techniques I'll be displaying while scripting using PowerShell, and also I'll be providing additional information. So a little bit, I also the founder and user group leader for the Florida PowerShell user group. I'm very available. You can go ahead and contact me via email. This is my contact information. Feel free to do so. As a matter of fact, tonight I'm going to have an open session in PowerShell, so you might want to join me. I'll be posting the link later in the day. We always start around 6:30 every third Thursday of the month, so feel free to join in if you want to. A little bit about myself, just like Aaron said, I'm from Puerto Rico. I've been in computers since 1979, moved to Florida in '92, and I've been a Microsoft MVP since 2009, so I've been 7 years as an MVP. And at the same time, I've been using Sapient Technology products, Primal Script, and the most recent flagship that they have now is the PowerShell Studio. Very, very good tools. Also, as Aaron said, I have spoken at most of the IT community events, main events in the Florida area, SQL Saturdays, Code Camps, and IT Pro Camps. So I'm very active with the community, and I love it when I can speak about PowerShell. So let's start now with our an outline here. We're going to just mention a little bit on the requirements. Very important, right? When you're ready to work with scripting in the Azure cloud, is PowerShell 4 or greater, which means Windows 7 SP1, 2008 Server R2 and greater. Those are the scripting tool you may need to install, to have it in place. Then, of course, you need Azure subscription through the MSDN. If you don't have MSDN, you can also sign up for, I think it's giving about $200 credit each month for maybe 90 days, if I'm not mistaken. But you're better off if you're working organization and you have an MSDN subscription, it's already there for 1 year. So you can take advantage of that. Of course, most important, when you set up the subscription, you can access the portal and start building stuff right from the portal, which is great, so the GUI. But our purpose is to use scripting, right? We want to make sure that we understand how the GUI works in the beginning, and then, okay, wait a minute, I'm tired of going to build 20 virtual machines using the portal one by one, right? So use scripting to automate that process. So for that, you need to create a certificate key. And when you get a certificate key on your machine, load it into the cloud, then you can go and do the import and export of your Azure setting that you already have set up. And of course, there is the, you can do the quick VMs I mentioned before using the graphical way, using the portal, or you can do scripting. And at the end, I'm going to give you some recent information that help you set up the environment because it's a little bit of a process, but as soon as you get it going, everything else flow beautifully. Okay. This is an example of, this is called the classic portal. When you first sign up, this is what you see first, and then you have all the different items that you can build your different components within the Azure. In our case, we're only going to use the virtual machine side because most likely that's what you like to do. Take advantage of your benefits of 200-hour credit, build one VM. Eventually, you're going to build 1, 2, 3, 4 VM. You want to interconnect to them do the virtual networking, connect, and communicate between each other. That's a lengthy process. So right now, we're only going to concentrate in building a virtual machine to get you started. That's what you want. And there's a lot of stuff out there that you'll be impressed with how much work Microsoft has put on to get you started quickly. And by doing that, this is the graphical way to build a virtual machine. You click on the new, go back there. At the bottom left-hand side of the screen, there's a plus, there's new. You click there, and then the screen will come up. This is all through the website, right? So you can compute virtual machine from gallery. From gallery, this will come up. You can pick and choose what kind of system, SharePoint, desktop. You have Linux also, Oracle. And by the way, you also have application, an SAP application you can build on. So this is very, Microsoft is not discriminating. That's the good thing, You're interested in Linux, using the cloud, here it is, Ubuntu, or SUSE. You want to do Oracle, there it is. SharePoint, go ahead, hack at it, just plenty of stuff. And it's not only that, it's not only the operating system. They give you a full application server preset so that you can do minimal tweaking and just start using it. That's the beauty of this, especially if you want to do a test and do some matrix. Here it is. Everything is at your fingertips. And yes, we're going to straight to demo. So, but before that, let me give you this resource information. This is very important, okay? Because before you can start scripting, you need to set up your environment. And when you do this, everything will fall beautifully. So first you're going to download the Azure PowerShell or SDK kit. If you have Visual Studio, you're building some application beside building scripting. Because remember, we all becoming DevOps eventually. Down the line, this is your skill set path. You start scripting, basic scripting, automating stuff in your infrastructure, and eventually everything will interconnect. And even you're going to start building some basic application that might communicate with your PowerShell, and you see, it can grow big, right? So when you install the SDK, then you need to create a certificate key, and then of course here is the link that could help you do that. Microsoft have done an excellent work in documenting everything in the Azure for Azure. So every information that you need to set an environment is on your Azure documentation and or MSDN also. You can find it there. Eventually you need a software development toolkit. For Windows 8, have the component to create a certificate, the make certificate exe. It's required. And then after that, then you can fully configure. There's an option, as a topic there of how to install and configure your Azure PowerShell. When you complete all the steps, then you're ready to script for the cloud. Okay. Okay, now let's go for the demo.
Hey, Max, let me just clarify one question for you. The question in the queue was,
Sure.
Is it a requirement to download the PowerShell Azure commandlets?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's one of the requirements. You have to.
All right.
Yeah, because PowerShell, straight from your machine, it doesn't have the module for Azure. You have to download. Every month at least once and no more than twice, there's updates for your Azure commandlet. So you had to do the due diligence that every beginning of the month, middle of the month, check for updates. Okay, you don't get no notification. It's more like you have to really keep an eye on that. But yes, you have to download the Azure PowerShell commandlets so that way you can script and automate your.
And where do you get those commandlets? Are they in the SDK?
This is all, and I'm going to show you right now. This is all under Azure documentation. Oh, excuse me. That's the documentation side. Downloads. You got to go to Azure Downloads. We have time for this. Where's my machine resources kicking in? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh no, you're stretching my resources.
Sorry, I guess I should have saved this question for later.
well, this is a 7-year-old laptop.
Wow.
And I'm running Windows 10 on it. Of course, yes, you need to pay a price for it, right? But but it's time. We do have time for this, so it's time. And then you get to the download section, and you just let me scroll down. Yeah, just scroll down, and on the command line tools, you see PowerShell and install. Okay,
all right, great.
That's how you find it. So yeah, the Azure website have everything you need to get you started and educated on the Microsoft Cloud. That's the good thing. It's well documented. Okay, so this is how you get to your install your SDKs and your Azure. Come up with a menu, and then you can pick and choose. All right. So, any more questions before I continue?
That's it. That was it.
Okay. All right. Well, in this case, I'm using one of my editor tools is Sapient Technology PowerShell Studio, and they recently released their 2015 line. Go ahead and check them out. They have evaluation on it. It costs, it's a pricey tool, but when you evolve in your scripting, totally recommend this tool. I mean, you can start using Windows ISC, which is the pre-Microsoft Editor. It's not bad for starter. It's an excellent, give you a lot of options to use. But when you get to that level of advanced scripting, then you realize you need something better. They're more. I mean, for me, I've always been using Sapient for so long, and always stick to them. So this is an example of Sapient Technology. I have the code in the top. At the bottom, I have my console. And that way, I can easily script and at the same time run pieces of code that will be executed on the bottom of the screen here. So in this case, it's just because this is not also about PowerShell Azure, but it's also about PowerShell code. So in this case, I'm running a one-liner. I have two commands. They're separated by, it terminates, each command will finish in a semicolon, which means this is my line terminator. And this guy could run two commands as one line, so it's considered one-liner. And I'm going to go ahead and run it. Run selection on screen. And you can see it, give it a few seconds here. Yeah, we'll clear the screen, set up to the root of the C, and ready to do more code. Okay, so now just keep in mind, I already have my environment, my Azure environment set up with PowerShell. And a good thing to do is that when you set it up and you do the steps to connect, finally connect your machine to Azure for scripting, you don't have to do it again. I already test that. So the instructions that I put on the presentation, you follow those through. Then every time you open PowerShell, you can start running your Azure command. And to prove that, I'm going to run a series of commandlets in here. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Run console. It will display my Azure subscription information and Azure location. Okay, so as it's populate my console at the bottom, I'm going to show you an example here that sometimes you don't need to display the whole information for what is, the result set of the command you're executing. With time, you realize that each of these command is, of course, is an object that it builds, and objects have a collection of objects within. And one of the most important piece of that information is the property. The property store values that is the one used to display information. So in this example I just highlighted, and what I did is I pick the property service name, and that will display only this service instead of the whole other information that by default might be displayed. In this case, you can see here my subscription display certain number of properties and its value next to it. In the get Azure location that's executing right now. Let's see if it's executing. Let's see here. Which is executing now. Give you a list of all Azure locations that are available for you to do your object storage, which is plenty of information. You can keep it local in the US, you can move it to different areas around the world, and that's the purpose to the Get Azure location. And besides, it gives you all the information of available services, worker roles, and things that you can use for your VM. You start a VM is small, you want to put more power to the VM, and through the different location, you can see that everybody is pretty consistent. Everybody have the same options available. This is going to take a little bit here. So, any question for now, just in case?
No questions in the queue right now.
Perfect. All right. So this is confirmed that I have connectivity to my Azure cloud, and now I'm ready to start building some additional piece of information that I need for my VM. Okay. And I'm going to scroll the screen down a little bit. And by doing that, I need some credential information, right? We can create a VM. It will need a local administrator, okay? And you define your username for the local administrator and the credential. And for this, and we'll put that information safe in a variable called admin credit. And as you probably haven't noticed yet, $ designate, this is a PowerShell object, okay? In this case, ADM credit will hold information that is bring into from the get credential. Now, of course, I got to wait until the thing gets populated here, which is a good example of some of this command that gives you a lot of information just in extract. If you want to document stuff, this is a good way. Build an object, and then you can do the select to different properties and store that in a text file, and so that way you can have access to it and document. Okay. Hopefully this will be plenty of locations right now. They started with 8 in the beginning, maybe 6 or 8, and now they have all over the world right now. You can see there's plenty of room for you to store stuff. I don't know what to do. Let's see, Brazil. Just because I already have connectivity to Azure, I can do this. And reset my console. It's much quicker, right? It's an option. And now I can run this. I'll build my credential. Let's see what's up. It's running. It will come up with a pop-up screen that asking me for my password. There it is. I'm going to put my password. Click OK. That information gets saved into my ADM cred variable. It is saved. Now the next line here, what it's going to do is, it's going to display that information. Yes, you can display your password information with the line that I'm providing in here. You just store it. I'm going to try so let me just make sure that I don't lose this. Now you can see here I went directly to the object and pulled the property of username. My name is displayed here. And then next to it is one-liner, translating the secure password using the method. This is an example of a method. Get network credential, open close parenthesis, the password. And that would automatically will translate my secure string into a text only. Let me give you some ideas there, okay? All right. Now, how do I know that? Well, this is a very good example of how to explore your objects, and you can do, it goes with a PowerShell object, pipe, get member, pipe, and there's an excellent command that I'll read for you. This will display all the collection of objects out of the add ADM cred. You should come up with a pop-up window again, a grid view window displaying information. So let me just check something here. Something this comes in. It's still there. Okay. It's in processing. Here it is. Yeah. I have to tell you that there's a slight bug, which I don't think anybody have. May have tried to document this. When you do the grid view the first time, it doesn't seem to become active on your taskbar like flashing, so it sits behind the application. So tiny bug, just get used to it. And but here's the result. This showed you all the methods, all that add ADM cred variable is have a collection of methods and property. And as I mentioned before, properties are what stores the values, and then you can do the select object and just use the name of those properties to display values. Okay, just want to show you that. So here, I'm not going to run this, but just to give you an idea, every commandlet, doesn't matter if it's in, it's any PowerShell commandlet or any application commandlet, try to get used to running get help with the commandlet name and use a dash, the parameter dash show window, and yeah, why not? I mean, we have time here, so let's go ahead and do this and give you the format. We used to run the get help on the console and populate all the screen, all the results. You have to scroll up and down. But in this case, Microsoft has done an excellent job in adding the show window parameter, so that way we can have a window aside with all the information, all the documentation with your PowerShell commandlet, so you can view it with examples and everything. And it is very useful, especially if you're beginning to learn about PowerShell. There's a lot of information out there at your fingertips, and you can use the get help to access that. There you go. And this is how it looks like. The good thing about this is if you're blind, then go to the bottom right-hand side bottom, and then you can use the font's resize ruler to increase the font size. And I'll give an example here of how the documentation shows parameters, samples. So you can go, there's plenty of documentation at your fingertips, okay, that is included with PowerShell. So now, here we go. Now we're going to the our gallery. This is the commandlet way to access your VM gallery information, okay? And we're going to run this just to give it a little bit piece out and let it process, right? Let's run this series here. Right click, one selection, and then I'll explain what it loads, what it's doing. Okay, so here running the Get Azure VM image, it lists all those available VMs, applications that are available for you to pick to build your quick VM. Okay, in this case, this block of code that I just ran, run the commandlet, but I'm picking only, and I'm selecting whatever's matching to SQL Server, and then on my out-grid view, we'll be displaying a pop-up window with all the lists for that selection. Okay, and as you can see, I'm using the piping, and in this case, this block of code, I'm using the tick to pause and continue into the next line all the different commands that I'm sending. So it passes information from the Get Azure VM image to the word clause. The word clause is clicking on the SQL Server, and the result set from that is going to display it in the grid view. Okay, it is running. So this is a good way. You can change this eventually, to put variables and just pick different selections in there, and you can adjust the word clause to, whatever's title or component of the, the text within the image. You can grab the result. And just in case, let me see. Something like grid view get tricky sometimes. Okay, still processing. That's good. So this is the little step by step. Instead of using the portal, click, 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 then this grabs the whole thing. And then you can pick either SQL Server 2008, SQL Server 2012. So processing, okay. You know what? I need to make sure that I'm already done with the presentation. Get some resources back. There's a lot of SQL Server to pull. But then again, I don't blame Azure, blame my machine. Don't blame the presenter, blame the machine. See, there you go. It's doing this magic. So now in this way, you have all the matching selection for SQL Server based on the name. You can see the different areas, different location, label, SQL Server 2012. And you can also check for publishing date to see if everything was updated. I've seen images that gets updated, and sometimes it will include the latest service packs, which is great. And one thing very important here is the images will also are set for, will give you the recommended size. And this is one element that you want to, we're going to grab before building our quick VM, okay? So I think it's going to take that long. Let me see what I can do here. So in this case, that was the whole piece of information. Now in this example, what's going to happen is it's going to generate the list, but then again, let's see, did I have that? Let's be more savvy in here. I need to label. Let's be a little savvy here. See, but here I'm listing everything, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrow down my selection, and I'm going to include Server 2012. And let's do this. 2012. There you go. Perfect. Same with resources. Select this one. Now in this case, what I'm doing is out of the grid view, I'm going to be picking a particular image and displaying only these properties: label, recommended size, publish date, image name, and the out grid view have a parameter that allow you to either pick one or multiple selections, so you can reuse it. But the pass-through does that. It help you. That's the line I'm going to save. I'm going to save it in my variable so I can reuse the properties. Okay. And the purpose of that is, I'm going a little bit ahead of time because I know it's going to take a little bit there. And so you can understand what's going to happen here is using the commandlet new quick VM, I'm gonna pass some values that are already created before. Okay, password. The password here is in text, so that's why I have that conversion there from secure string to the get network credential. So we can translate that from secure string to string. Then you can pass, give the server name, the service. The service is important. Every virtual machine has its own service account, the old service name. And then here's the image name. Is whatever I pick, you're going to pick that image name. I'm going to pick a location, important. You want to keep it on our side of the world, then perfect. If not, you can put it in Japan, Brazil. And another important thing is, then based on the list of images that you're going to get, then it's going to grab the instance size, which is the recommended size for it. And you build this from previous information, previous scripting that you have used, and this will help you build the virtual machine. Okay. And I know that we are now here the result set's going to be very smaller, more smaller than the previous one. Previous one was tons of information listing all the property. That's why it took longer. And then after we start running and building the machine, there's this other command up here that gives you the status of what you're doing. It's a get Azure VM. Get Azure VM, you can run it after you start building your quick VM. Oh, here it gets much quicker, much smaller. I'm going to pick the medium here, standard, and click OK. And this will build my variable. And if I do this, where do you have it there? .x. I'm going to do pipe. So pipe. Format list. You can either do format dash list to display the information in a list view way. And you can see here, label, standard, recommended size medium, publishing date. I just put that there just to information. This is the image it's going to build that quick VM from. And we're ready to run our quick VM, new Azure quick VM commandlets. And I'll make sure that I do this right way. One selection screen, console. Now this is all scripting. You have to go through the portal. You have to, do one by one. Eventually, you can do a more advanced scripting or function that will fill in, and you can build series of servers at the same time. Let Microsoft Azure do the work for you. And normally, what's going to happen is, in about 10-15 minutes, this VM will be completed and ready to use, right? As mentioned before, you can use the get Azure commandlet, and let's do something interesting here. Here, let me open a PowerShell session here. Let me save this first. I'm going to do a copy. So I'm going to have multiple sessions here. Should I run this? Let me be saved due to my resources. You can see here, new quick VM, operation ID, status succeeded, right? I'm going to make sure I wait for my prompt, my cursor to come back. stick to the session. My resources are a little bit tight, so play it safe. So now we got, matter of fact, I got my Azure here. Go to my portal, classic portal. You can see it that it's going to be working here. The whole operation for building a Windows application is about 10 minutes. I've seen it complete in 10 minutes. There's some activity going on.
While we're waiting, I've got one question in the queue, Max. Do you have time for it?
Go ahead and, yeah.
Says, does this VM SQL image have data and log on separate drives for better performance?
It might not. It might not have it. You might have to set up afterwards, because they don't know what database is going to be installed in there. It's a fresh installation. So eventually you got to go back in there and fine tune it more.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like, okay, well, this is my what portals keep coming up? Let me just do this one here. Give me a more, list all my VMs and their statuses. It's a good combination of using the new Azure Quick VM and the Get Azure VM. That way you can see how the stuff flows. Oh, a good tip is when you start using, start building VMs and try to, how would I say, intelligently use your credit. You can build VMs as much as you want, but you want to consume all your credit in a couple of days. Learn how to stop the services. Okay, you can see in here, I have a few of my services are stop allocated, and so I have all my services and my VM stop, and you can see I have one that's steadily it's ready to roll. The other one, you see the SQL Server just created is provisioning. So this one will take a little bit to, 10 minutes about that. Probably we'll finish by the time it's 1 o'clock. But you can see it's running. It's running. I mean, it's creating that virtual machine for you. After that's done, then you have other command that's available. You can do a restart. You can do restart, stop, remove VMs, but then you use that wisely. Or you just go to the portal and just click, and you can do the same thing. Okay. Let me see if I have already my. There you go. Okay, good. So you can see in here is my classic portal. And there is my test SQL Server's cloud, the parameter I put in there. There's my test SQL Server. It's provisioned. Okay, so now it's matching my result set that I have for my PowerShell scripting also can see it on my portal. And to give you an idea, for all these things that I have stopped and created, I only have almost half of my credit, a little less than half of my credit already consumed. Okay, so you can wisely use the credit, to an extent of, just doing some tests for a few hours, shut it down, and keep working with it so you can understand how Azure works. So it's not impossible. You should be able to accomplish a lot to learn about Azure.
Hey, Max, do you know much about the licensing?
The licensing, as after if you sign up for full licensing, it depends, because it's a matter of there's a lot of preview going on right now under Azure, and you have the credits available to get you started, and after that it's just a matter they have good documentation on the prices and stuff, so you can do the matrix on that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's documented in the Microsoft documentation on the Azure Microsoft. You'll find most information there.
Question is, it's an interesting question. I definitely will put our official answer to be ask your Microsoft sales rep. But can you use an existing SQL license and then run it in Azure instead?
I think you could, yeah, but it's good to consult with your Microsoft. I think you can. You can build VMs locally on your on-premise environment and move it to Azure. It is allowed. You have a license for it. But in order to truly reassure that it is possible, I think it's allowed. Okay, this is part of your MSDN subscription.
Yeah, it would make sense as a VM that you'd be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why Azure is becoming very interesting, and the evolution has gone through, because now you can build hybrid environments, meaning you can have either cloud only, or you can connect your on-premise to the cloud. Just why not? I mean, use the power of your Microsoft data center to support your business. It's a lot of savings. I'm noticing a lot they have lowered the prices a lot in different areas. So it's making it more affordable and more conscious that, instead of investing tons of money on hardware, cabling on your on-premise data center that might be outdated, well, Microsoft always up to date, So eventually, and there's no lack of job on this. That's why it's very important to keep up with the PowerShell skill set. This is not going away, because this is the way you automate your processes. If you don't start learning little by little on PowerShell and evolve, it's going to come down to a point that it is a requirement to know PowerShell in an infrastructure environment. I've seen now tons of jobs requesting people who know workload automation with PowerShell.
Just wanted to give you a heads up. We've got 7 minutes left in the session.
Yeah. Well, I think we're up to, because we got the VM running. Well, the next thing will be, after the VM is running, is you got to go to the portal, right? Let's pick one of the VMs that I got here. As a matter of fact, here. Let's go with this one. This is my Windows 10. Oh, by the way, did I mention that you can also build desktops VM? Yes, you can. So you can have a full Visual Studio 2012 with SQL Server loaded for development in the cloud. That's so cool. That is so freaking cool. You can build everything. I mean, you can have a portable developer's office in the cloud. You can go to Starbucks, open, connect to the cloud, open your desktop VM, and start, hacking and coding. This is great. So in this case, what I'm showing is I'm going to my Windows 10 desktop that I have on the cloud VM. I go to dashboard. And make sure that you can listen to the dashboard. And what I'm going to do is, there you go, dashboard is there. And what I'm going to show is that when you're in the dashboard, you have this area here that says connect. This will create a remote desktop shortcut. You can download that shortcut to your local machine so you can connect remote desktop to your VM in the cloud. And then, of course, you have the other option to restart, shut down, you know, and even delete if you want. If you want to delete that VM. But this place is using the portal. Okay. Here's after the machine is done, you want to connect to it. You connect to it where you provide username, the password. Automatic. Scheduling restart. But yeah, so this way, you know, you can go ahead and access the VM and work with it. You know, you install all the application, and one thing for sure, when you connect to the VM, the speed for downloading, installing all application is faster. Remember, you're not dealing with your local machine installing software. It's on the cloud. It's a more powerful machine, so resources is available. You know, so again, that's it. That's part of the. That's how you use PowerShell to create your quick VM. Show you a couple of tips and tricks using the out-grid view, and how to use your object properties to benefit building a VM with the new Azure Quick VM commandlet. And these things that you can apply to many areas of PowerShell too. You know, the general concept of how things using objects and stuff. So, if there's any more questions?
We just got one question here right at the end. I'm going to go ahead and assign it to you. Hopefully it'll allow you to see it then. It's asking about system configuration options. Are you able to see the question, Max?
Let me see.
It's in the pane under, should be questions.
Yeah, let me see, can I see it? Oh, let me see one. Is it all the way up?
Yeah, hopefully you should only see the one.
I see requirement download PowerShell. Can you?
Here, let me just read it off to you. It says, Max, PowerShell 4.0 brings a lot of system configuration options that allow for a lot of flexibility other than what is provided in the Windows Server OS, and select PowerShell commandlets as needed. Do you have any suggestions for automated configuration management done with tools like Chef and Puppet using Microsoft Stack and Azure?
No, that's out of the scope on this presentation, but it sounds to me like more desired state configuration level stuff, which means after you build a VM, you can use those tools to further configure your machine. You can use Chef, you can use desired state configuration, which uses, if I understand it, which uses Chef, but yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of you know, just trying them. I mean, you can start using desired state configuration first, and then see how Chef will benefit. If it's an infrastructure, if you know, a data center, then yeah, you might look into more data center level of configuration tools for that. The Chef is a very excellent tool, for what I know. I don't use them, so that's why I can comment on. I'm trying to get into the DCS, you know, use whatever PowerShell give you first before I can go and move into a more sophisticated but at the end it's going to be more beneficial for the automation side for that.
All right.
I've been an MVP. You kind of like, there's a lot of stuff that I still don't know.
Yep.
And with version 4, if version 4 came out, version 5, oh my God, big difference. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff. This is the time to learn PowerShell because, I mean, there's a lot of room of growth for anyone,
Yep, a lot to learn.
Yes, a lot to learn. Well, I hope you guys, appreciate the presentation. My apologies. I hopefully will get another laptop soon, and so that way my resources won't suffer the pain of my demonstration. But I think it was good. I mean, it showed a lot of little techniques in here, and that you can also apply for your regular PowerShell scripting.
All right. Thanks for doing the session for us, Max, and look forward to running into you at a SQL Saturday down the road.
All right, man. We'll keep in touch. Thank you, guys. Appreciate very much of your time.